Now we speak with the voice of Dune.
Done. Spice is the power of life. That might have been my favorite part of the movie. Just the very beginning when that crazy voice says that. And I was
I've
like,
been,
ugh. Just like
yeah.
pushed me back in my seat. Spice is the spice of power. And I was like, holy shit.
I just shit my pants.
I guess they did that in the first Dune Part One. They did that little intro, but it was not nearly as powerful it was in this movie. Or like, I don't know.
Well, also you saw it in the theater.
Well, I saw the first one in theater too,
Oh, you did. Oh,
with
okay.
Heath and Scout, I think, actually.
Oh, nice.
Film with family.
Yeah. What's your history with with Dune? Did you read the books?
I haven't read a single Dune book, but I have seen the Dune movies. And yeah, I saw the Lynch Dune first when I was really getting into David Lynch and wanted to go through and watch all of his movies. And I was like kind of perplexed by it at that point, expecting a David Lynch movie. And I was like, this is weird. This doesn't feel like David Lynch.
Yeah, no, it's
But
not.
I remember rewatching Dune with in Chicago at Drew's apartment, and we smoked a bunch of weed and had a great time.
Yeah.
And I rewatched it again this past weekend.
Hmm.
I love the Lynch Dune. It's so cheesy and campy and
Yeah.
dorky, which I feel like Dune at its heart is a very dorky thing.
Hmm.
And so I really like that about the Lynch Dune.
Yeah.
And these Denny Villeneuve Dunes, they're very cool.
Yeah.
And they don't treat it as like a dorky thing at all, really.
Yeah.
And that kind of works in its favor, but sometimes it kind of makes me rub up against it, like how deadly seriously they've taken it.
Hmm.
But I like these Dunes too. Dune 1 and Dune 2, both good. That's my big take.
Yeah, I'll tell you my little history here. So, few well, so I saw the first time I actually like saw Dune, I saw the Lynch Dune in theaters years and years and years ago, and fell asleep. Was like totally bored by it. I was like, just like you, I was like, this is not a Lynch movie. I don't know what the hell this is. I mean, it comes off strong, like that the beginning of the Dune movie when you get that weird vagina worm alien,
Oh
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
you're in the palace, and it's like whoa, wow, and then it gets really tiresome as you go along, and very confusing, and Lynch has since disowned it. He didn't get final cut on the movie, so David doesn't like it. I don't like it. But I did rewatch it this weekend as well, and had a great time with it. Much now that I've seen the Denny Dunes 1 and 2,
Yeah.
I get the story now, and so I was way more keyed into it. I was like, oh,
Yeah, it's a
that's
lot easier to follow.
yeah, I was like, oh, that's that scene, and okay, I know kind of like because it jumps around a lot, like it's very disjointed. The Lynch Dune, like if you don't know the story that well, it's really hard to follow because it's just like jumping around.
I think it's fun. I
Yeah,
think it's a lot of fun. And I really like Kyle MacLachlan as Paul Atreides.
yeah.
I think I like him better than Timmy.
Ooh.
That's maybe a bold take.
No, I mean, if you had a young Kyle MacLachlan now, it'd be awesome. I think he's great. He's a little bit more alien.
Yeah, he's like kind of like a vacant psychopath a little
Yeah.
bit, which I think
Yeah.
kind of works for the character.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Timmy, he's doing more of like a brooding, angsty teenager kind of thing, kind
Yeah.
of adjacent to Kylo Ren, Adam Driver, and Star Wars a little bit. I'd say on Dune Part Two, maybe that was one of the things I didn't like as much as Timothy.
Yeah.
I wasn't totally sold on him. I think I liked him better in part one.
Yeah, he, he's trying to play the badass, like especially towards the end of it when he's like, "I am the Duke of Arrakis," and it's just kind of like, "Oh, Timmy, chill." Like, like you just kind of don't buy him as like a leader. I don't know. He's just so much of a twink.
Yeah,
Um,
he's just a scrimpy little guy.
but yeah, that's my, I mean, I guess we'll get into it in more detail, or we won't, whatever. But I feel like the actors don't are a little out of sync with the seriousness of the film, like you were saying. Like, I feel like Denny is like trying to make this like very serious picture and do justice to Frank Herbert's book, and I think in so many ways he nails it. But like there's just moments where like Timmy, there's that one scene where he like walks over, like the Fremen are like chatting and he's just like, "What you guys laughing about?" It's just like a little kid, like just I don't know. There's just like something like so like Gen Z about it, like especially with him and Zendaya, like
Zendaya.
yeah, where she's just kind of like mm, like giving this like attitude, like my boyfriend left me. Oh my God. Like
Yeah, I really wasn't. I was not invested in the Timmy Zendaya romance in this film,
hmm
which I feel like they put a lot of weight on that. But I don't know that I think like the cutest moment they have is when they're doing the little sand walk together.
hmm
That was like the one part I was like, oh, this is cute.
Yeah.
They're doing a little sand walk together. But that was like the only scene where I felt like they had like some kind of romantic chemistry going. But this is a good movie. I don't want to be too negative on it. This was a great time at the
No, no,
theater.
no. Let's get it out of the way.
Get the negativity out of the way.
Yeah. So I want to just back it up. So like I said, didn't really love the Lynch Dune. And then when the first Dune came out, it was during the pandemic, and I watched it on HBO when it first came out. I didn't really care that much, and I really didn't like it when I watched it at home. I think I watched it like first thing in the morning when it first dropped, and it was like sunny out and there's a glare on my TV. It's kind of a dark movie, and I was just like, I don't get it. I did watch it with headphones on though, and I was like, the sound is incredible. But
Yeah.
I did not know what was going on, super distracted at my house, and really never paid mind to it. Totally like didn't give it another shot. But with the second part coming out, they did a reissue, and I saw it in IMAX and was fucking blown away. Like I was like, this fucking rules. Like I was just I don't know. There's something about just watching it in IMAX in basically an empty theater. I was like, there were like two other people in the theater, and I was like in the perfect spot for it. Dolby surround sound. I was just like in
Hmm.
the perfect mood for it, and I was just like spice pilled for life. I was like, fucking love Dune.
Yeah.
And it just like it clicked for me. It finally clicked for me. The whole lore of it, the sci-fi-ness of it, the story, the the cinema, the sound, it just I was just rocked by it. And the beginning of the movie, there's this like again like Zendaya and Timmy looking like all cute at the beginning of the movie. They're like, stay tuned afterwards to see a sneak peek of Dune Part 2. And
Oh yeah.
so stuck around. Everybody else in the theater left. So it's just me in this empty IMAX theater. Denny comes up and says this. I recorded it in the theater.
Whoa.
Hi everyone, I'm Denis Villeneuve. I made Dune Part 2 as a cinematic journey with more action and a deeply moving story involving family, love, and war. Prepare for massive battles, end-to-end combat, and of course, sandworm riding. When I first read the book as a child, I dreamt of this sequence. The first time Paul rides the mythic sandworm. So for me, it's an incredibly important moment in his journey. In this film, we harness the sandworms and their relationship with the Fremen in a whole new way. Only these in the first film, this time around we really get to see their intense power. Here's a sneak peek of what you can expect to experience when the film opens on IMAX screens across the globe. Long live cinema.
Long live cinema.
Wow, I've never heard Denny talk before. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's very Quebecois. But then they showed in its entirety the sandworm scene where he rides the fucking sandworm.
He gets up on that worm.
I couldn't believe that they gave it away, that he would give that away. I mean, it's like one of the most powerful scenes, if not the best scene of Dune Part 2, which has a lot of really great scenes.
Yeah, but the Dune Part 1 does end with they show a Fremen riding a sandworm, so you do know that that's gonna happen.
Yeah, but the detail in this one where you see the skin of the worm and like the way it like peels up and has like these little like air holes underneath its skin and
Yeah, that scene is crazy, and it's super loud, and
Mhm.
it's just like, yeah, it's a very visceral
The
thing.
way that sand is like splashing up at you and
Yeah, it made me want to see it in 40X. Just be like, "Nah, I'm riding the worm. I'm riding the fucking
yeah, Drew keeps saying we gotta go see in 40X, but I refuse
worm." Never
because
again, you
I will
say.
never do that again.
I
Um,
do really like the sand riding scene in Lynch's Dune too. I
mhm.
think it's really good in that when they got the Toto song blaring. It's like, it rocks. But they nail it in Dune Part 2. That's a great scene, and I love the whole thumper device, him setting it up in the sand and
Mhm.
seeing the worm come up. It really sets the tension really nice.
Just so much fun. I love the score.
Zimmer. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't know. It just feels so tropey, and I don't
Yeah.
know, just like the ethnic sounding woman doing some kind of scream singing like that for a desert.
Yeah.
It just feels a little too cliche, kind of makes me roll my eyes a little bit. But other than that, I think it is some really cool score.
Javier Bardem.
He was a standout. He's great in the movie. He has a sense of humor. You know,
Yeah.
he gets some laughs. He's having fun as Stilgar.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the number one hype man for Muad'Dib, Paul
Yeah.
Atreides.
Yeah. Get somebody to look at you like Stilgar looks at Paul.
Yeah. Yeah, he was definitely a highlight. And yeah, because you get a little bit of him in part one, but you get a lot more in part two. Same
Mm-hmm.
for my man Dave Bautista.
Mm-hmm.
Bautista is killing it in part two. He's getting real pissed off and
Yeah.
screaming.
Yeah. He's
So good.
wild. Wild man.
He's angry man, angry
Yeah.
Harkonnen. And then of course you got Austin Butler. Was Fade Ratha is his name?
Yeah. Looking wild. Just looking.
Bald.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was one of the things going into it. I was like, man, I wonder if he's gonna be able to pull off this look. And he does. Like he's got a weird face and head, and especially with those like black teeth. Ooh,
Yeah.
he's a creepy looking guy.
Yeah. In the Lynch Dune, they get Sting to play that character, and it doesn't have the same weight.
No,
It
not at
doesn't
all.
quite work so well, but I kind of love it for how dumb it is. But
Yeah. And that the Harkonnen like birthday battle scene is incredible. I think that was one of my favorite scenes is when they go into
was that like
that.
the gladiator scene where it's all black
Yeah.
and white?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And I guess he shot that scene in infrared, and that's why it looks so starkly different than the rest of the film. Um,
Yeah.
and everything's like inverted. Like I love how like when the Bene Gesserit women walk in and they're like in the full black cloaks, and then they walk in and like they just turn white, and like you can see the little black threads on like the side of their clothes. It's just like it's really cool how it inverts and just looks so starkly different from like the deep orange of the Dune Arrakis. It's so cool.
Yeah. So would you say you like Dune Part 2?
Yeah. I mean, it's no taste of things.
I mean, it has
I,
spice, but you know.
yeah, true that. Honestly, I feel like they're so well coupled together. I mean, I just I'll say I especially seeing them back to back, both in like literally the same theater in the same IMAX theater. I just think that they're just together, just incredible film. But I guess Dune Part Two has like a lot more fun in it. You know, you got Javier Bardem's cracking jokes, getting big laughs throughout the movie. Um, a lot of cool scenes. Like the first Dune has a lot of like Star Wars prequel vibes. Like you feel like you're kind of like in that galactic senate like for a good half of the movie, like trying to gather all this
Do all the
information. Yeah.
exposition and stuff.
Yeah. But Dune Part 2 is just letting it rip. All those battle scenes are incredible. And they have those like magnet mines that are like flying around, and Zendaya's got that blaster.
Oh yeah, yeah. And like those Harkonnen guys just like kind of floating up that
Yeah.
the side of that canyon. That's right at the beginning of the movie. That was really cool. And then them like getting like shot off one by one and like falling like right
Mm-hmm.
next to Paul and stuff. That whole sequence was really awesome.
Yeah.
Great way to start the movie.
Like sucking the moisture out of those guys,
Yeah, that
like
was good.
dehydrating them.
Yeah, I liked all that. Yeah, I will say, yeah, I feel the same way that these movies or Dune Part 1, Part 2, I feel like I like them both equally, kind of. I don't know. I think
Hmm.
they both have different things that they do a little bit better. Some things are a little worse, but I think on the average, they're both solid, good, great movie experiences, and I can't really put one over the other.
Hmm.
Maybe if I watch Dune Part 2 again, maybe I'd like it a little bit more. But part of it was I saw Dune Part 2 on a weed gummy. I had a big thing of water. I had to take 2 bathroom breaks, so
Mm.
I feel like I was missing some stuff, and my mind would wander at some parts. So I was like maybe missing some plot points. So I would like to rewatch it again and maybe not be so high, because I feel like that maybe it distracted me a little bit in my viewing of Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, just very visually impressive movie to take in. Great action. You got walking in there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The guy behind me like could not like help himself to like every time walking came on, just being like, like, oh my God, it's the cowbell guy. It's like, can we get over it just for like a second? Just like, I don't know. I was like annoying me.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, he is just he cannot be anyone but himself in anything he
yeah.
does.
Yeah, he also got Florence Pugh in there as his daughter. Yeah, like these are two new
Hmm.
characters that they introduced in part two, which it was smart to kind of, I feel like, to save those because these Dune movies, there's just so many factions. Like that's kind of a lot to take in, a lot to keep straight. It's like comparing it to like another sci-fi movie like Star Wars. It's like you got Sith and the Rebellion.
Hmm.
That's pretty much it.
Hmm.
But in the Dune, you got the Harkonnens, you got the Atreides, you got the Fremen, you got the Emperor, and you
Hmm.
got the Bene Gesserit. It's like all these different factions, all
Hmm.
wanting different things. It's kind of a lot to keep in your head. So I
Hmm.
think the way Denny's kind of broken it down into 2 movies, and the first movie, we're only going to focus really on the Atreides and the Harkonnens, and we'll get a little bit of Fremen, a little bit of Bene Gesserit stuff. Like I
Hmm.
feel like it's really smart how he's kind of broken it down and just made it a lot more palatable. Because the Dune movie with Lynch, it's like it's trying to take on the whole book, and it's just
Hmm.
like you're missing a lot of stuff. It's just speeding through it, and it's like, what's going on? Like, what's there's too
Yeah.
much to keep track of.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, rewatching Lynch's Dune did new appreciation for how kind of smartly he kind of doles out. the exposition and all the
Yeah.
different sides of it. So
Yeah.
it's complex.
It is very complex. I read this quote from Denis Villeneuve where he said, talking about watching Lynch's Dune when he was a kid, or, I don't know how old he was, maybe like in his 20s or 30s, but he said, I remember watching the movie, thinking to myself, someday someone else will do it again in the future. It will happen. Because I didn't feel like he captured some of the essence of specifically the Fremen culture. And I felt that there was some things that were missing. And it makes me think, I do like, especially rewatching Lynch's Dune after seeing both of his back to back. I feel like there's some scenes that he's like kind of one for one trying to recreate Lynch's Dune. Doesn't it
Yeah.
feel that way? Like it feels like he's less like trying to adapt the book, maybe. I mean, like obviously he is adapting the book, but like I feel like there's certain like cinematically he's trying to recreate Lynch's Dune in his vision.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the sandworm stuff feels very similar, like how it's
Hmm.
shot. And also like there's that one scene of that like little like floating like needle that's in
Yeah.
part one that's like trying to assassinate Paul.
Yeah.
Like that the way that happens in the Lynch Dune is very similar to how it happens in Denny's Dune.
Yeah.
So yeah, the I feel
The
like
pain box scene too, just like the way that that's blocked
mhm.
is so similar. The pain.
The pain.
And then there's that one scene where when Jessica and Paul are captured by the Harkonnens, and there's like those two like
Oh, and then the
uh
helicopter.
yeah, yeah, and they like try and Paul's trying to use the voice on them. Like that scene is so similar to Lynch's Dune. Like they if you watch those two back to back, like again, like they feel almost I mean I'm sure that it's like written in the book in a way where it's like you can only kind of interpret it one way, but visually it feels like that made such an impact on Denny and like couldn't kind of escape from it in some way.
Yeah, I mean, Lynch's Dune has some value. People like to shit on it like it's a horrible movie, but I don't know. I find it to be quite watchable. I mean, it's definitely flawed, but I think it's got some good ideas in there. It's not all trash.
No. Yeah, I mean, so I am riding the sandworm, man. I am like it's been a while since I've been this jazzed on sci-fi anything. And I kind of like I want to read the book now or books. I want to like dig into Frank Herbert. I'd watched it before, but Jodorowsky's Dune, the documentary about Jodorowsky, the director who made El Topo and The Holy
Holy Mountain.
Mountain. He was trying to make a Dune movie. Do you know the story?
Yeah, I did see that documentary. I think
Okay.
around when it came out, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's worth giving it another watch because I watched it back in 2013 when it first came out. But yeah, I mean, early 70s, pre Star Wars, Jodorowsky was trying to make, Dune, this sci-fi epic, and he had like assembled this incredible Avengers like team of sci-fi illustrators that were like really famous at the time. This guy like Mobius, and he got like H.R. Geiger, like way before Alien or anything, to like make all the like Harkonian aesthetic. Mick
Yeah.
Jagger as Fayed.
Fade Ratha.
Yeah, Fade Ratha. Udo Kier was supposed to be in it. Orson Welles was going to be Baron Harkonnen.
Ooh.
He was gonna have these like different huge bands like be like the soundtrack for each world. And so like Pink Floyd was gonna be the Arrakis band and Magma was gonna be the Harkonnen world and he was gonna have Salvador Dali as the emperor. He also had his own son train for years with this jujitsu master to play Paul Atreides.
Wow. He's gonna get his son to do
Yeah, for years he was trained by like a jujitsu master,
it.
and then it just crumbled. It just like didn't get past the producers in Hollywood. Like nobody would fund it because mean, partially because Jodorowsky's like insane. And like obviously his vision was huge and nobody wanted to take a bet on it. And so it just kind of went into obscurity. It's an interesting tale, but its impact still lingers. Like a lot of these like Dan O'Bannon, who was helping him write the story, he ended up writing Alien, and then H.R. Giger ended up, doing the design for Alien. So it's like some
Yeah.
of these people that he paired together like ended up doing stuff. And so anyways, it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, after Lynch is doing, it's like, well, it seems like this is like kind of an impossible movie
Hmm.
to make, or it's too big for anyone's britches. But Denny's done a good job. He's broken it down into two nice parts for us.
Maybe three.
Yeah, it sounds like he's gonna make a third one, Dune Messiah or something. I hear it might be called. I guess
Yeah.
that's what the next book is called.
I mean, it's gonna happen. He said he's like it's in embryo form right now. Like he's starting to write it or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like the placement of Anya Taylor-Joy in this movie just for one shot, that's like kind of like him like planting a seed, like you gotta let me make another one.
Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy's gonna be in it.
Yeah, yeah. Can't let me not do it.
That seemed like a smart little move on his part to like plant that seed
Mm-hmm.
just for one
Yeah.
shot.
But then he did the Dune. Then he did it.
Yeah. How do you feel about the ending of Dune Part Two?
Uh Remind me how it ends. So like
Well, Paul kind of betrays his girlfriend Chani, and he's
right.
like, you know what? I'm gonna go with Florence Pugh.
Mm-hmm.
And she and Zendaya is not so happy about it. She storms off and she calls a sandworm and she's all brokenhearted. And that's how the movie ends, with her just calling a worm,
Yeah.
wasn't feeling in her feels, which is a
Yeah.
very different ending compared to the Lynch Dune.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you don't really get a sense at all that Paul Atreides is like kind of a piece of shit. He's
Mm-hmm.
like just like all and outs. He's just a unequivocal savior, white savior, great
Mm-hmm.
guy in the Lynch Dune.
Right.
But yeah, and Denny Dune, he's kind of a little shit,
Denny Dooney's dick.
which I like.
Yeah.
I like that he's a dick.
Yeah, yeah. Give it a little drama, a little spice, get a little spicy.
Yeah, because I've heard people like criticize this story as being like white savory, but I feel like, yeah, I think the actual text of Dune is like trying to deconstruct that kind of concept and like
Mm-hmm.
show that, like, yeah, it doesn't really work that way, or like he's gonna be corrupted or something, or
That's the classic reluctant hero story, right? It's like, Jon Snow or Anakin Skywalker, it's all these Luke Skywalker. I mean, it's a classic tale, it's like Joseph Campbell shit. Does he have to be white? No.
but yeah, it does feel a little bit more complex because like it doesn't seem like he's more operating in moral gray area maybe, or something. It doesn't
Hmm.
seem like he's not like 100% a hero, or that's
Well, the other thing that we didn't say, which spoiler alert, it's very Empire Strikes Back in that, it's revealed that Baron is his grandfather. And so he does have, direct bloodline to the Harkonian.
yeah. His mom's dad is fucking
Yeah.
Stellan Skarsgård. It's a fat man,
Floating fat man. Yeah.
floating fat
Um,
man.
so he's got the darkness in him. So it makes sense to like show him do a little bit of a heel turn.
Yeah. Turn on his girlfriend, who he said is like, "Oh, I'm always gonna be there for you." That
Hmm.
was a lot of bullshit, wasn't it? Well, we can admit that now, that was kind of bullshit when he
Well, he
said that.
said he said as long as I breathe, and he
He
did
stopped
stop
breathing.
breathing for a little bit. Yeah. So
So he found a loophole.
yeah. Oh, One other thing I just want to mention is the whole extracting of the water of life scene. That's such a cool when
Oh,
they
with the worm.
yeah, the adolescent or like the baby worm and then
Yeah.
they suffocate it in the water and then like stick that needle in it and extract the Gatorade.
Yeah. That Gatorade Frost, uh, Cascade Crash, that delicious
Yeah,
abuse.
the blue goo.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I do want to see Dune Part 2 again because I didn't see it in IMAX, which I
Do
feel
it.
like I got to go back for the Max and maybe for the 40X too. I don't know.
I mean, I think the IMAX is important, like visually, seeing it on a big screen, but I think even more so is hearing it in Dolby,
Hmm.
because the way that he mixes like all the like whispering voices and when they do the voice and yeah, like that beginning with the like the weird, powerful, deep
Yeah,
sounds, like I mean, it's just like visceral, just
yeah.
cuts you straight into your spine.
Did he find it was too loud? I heard friends that saw it and they thought it was way too loud.
No, I was like, turn it up.
Yeah, you saw it with Drew?
Yeah.
And Drew was a fan? Did Drew have any takes?
I recorded a little take.
Yo! Sure, we're gonna talk about.
So we saw Dune.
Oh, we're doing this.
Do you want to talk Dune a little bit?
We're doing this?
We're doing it.
That joke never gets old, never gets old.
What do you think? We saw it a week ago. How do you feel?
I feel like I fell asleep in the middle of it because I'm a sleepy boy, but I loved it and I feel bad about myself, so I don't want to talk about it. I want to go see it again, is what I want to do. But it's the greatest thing ever, and I feel like the world's been duped by Star Wars, and everything that was good about Star Wars is just from Dune,
It's true.
and it ain't right.
That's it.
That's all he had to say.
It ain't right.
But yeah, I do like that Star Wars. It feels a little more fun than Dune. Dune, it's so serious most of the time. I mean, except for well, Javier Bardem making a few cracks.
Hmm.
It just feels very self-serious, and sometimes that's a turn off for me. But and Star Wars has more of a fun, has more comedy in it, more silliness in it, which I
Hmm.
like. But it's also much simpler in terms of its story. So I
True.
don't know. They're pretty different, but definitely Star Wars has took a lot of influences from it for sure. Tatooine's basically Arrakis and all that. Yeah, so I see where he's going with that. I do like in Dune Part One, you get Duncan, Idaho, and that's just a hilarious name. They say Duncan, Idaho like 6 times in that movie, and every time they do, I crack a smile.
Yeah.
And also Timmy at the end of the movie saying desert power. It's like the last line of the movie, and they're like, that's some silly stuff that I like.
Yeah, it's fun. I want to see it again. I want more Dune in my life.
Yeah.
I'm happy it finally clicked for me, or thumped maybe.
Yeah, it seems like people are loving it. It's getting rave reviews.
Yeah,
People are giving it 5 stars on Letterboxd all over the place, and I feel like it's
yeah.
doing well at the box office, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's making that money.
it's making money. People love it.
I mean, it's like almost the budget was like almost like $200 million. So
Yeah,
you
better.
hope it's making that money back.
I hope so.
That's not even including all the money it takes to market the thing.
Yeah, jeez. Don't even get into marketing. Get me started on the marketing.
Suddenly got Timothy Chalamet on my Coke cup. Oh, I
In
don't
my popcorn bucket. We didn't even talk
know.
about the popcorn bucket. Have you seen that thing in the wild?
I haven't seen one in person, I don't think. Did you get your hands on that bucket?
I did. I saw it.
You didn't buy it?
No, it's disgusting.
It's
It's like, I mean, like,
disgusting.
it's just like, so many people were like, oh, the Dune bucket, and like stuck their hand in it and stuff. And it's just
Stuck their
like,
dick in it. Like,
took a
come
shit
on,
in
man.
there. Like, I don't
Come
want
on,
to
dude.
eat. I don't wanna eat out of that thing. It's fucking gross.
I just saw a guy take a shit in it. I'm not gonna eat out of that.
Little tendrils on it and stuff. It's just like, ugh. It's just like, it's not even funny. It's gross.
It's like, oh, I want butter on my popcorn, but it's covered in sand instead. What is this bucket? I got sand on my popcorn. It's crazy.
Uh, well, anything else?
Yeah, I don't know. I like Dune Part 2. I like all the Dunes. I like the Lynch Dune. I like Dune Part 1. I like Dune Part 2. Is it my favorite movie ever? No, but it's a great time at the movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll agree with that. I mean, I'm pretty hyped on it right now because I feel like I've finally been awakened. I've drank the water of life, and now my eyes are pure blue, and I'm riding the worm and all that. I'm real happy about it. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful for these movies, so that I could finally appreciate Lynch's Dune,
Yeah.
even though I do still think it's my like least favorite Dune or Lynch film.
Hmm.
I don't feel like it fits into his catalog at all. Still worth a watch, and yeah, now I get it a little better.
Did rewatch Lost Highway recently, and I think I like Dune better than Lost Highway.
I hate to say it, but yeah, I think Lost Highway is down there too. I was thinking that. I was like, do I like Lost Highway more or less? I'm not sure. But I think because of those Rammstein scenes, it gets a little bit over.
Rammstein.
Also those saxophone scenes. And just the
Yeah.
creepy guy is like, call me.
Yeah, there's definitely some great stuff in Lost Highway, but there's a lot of dry, dull periods in that movie
Yeah.
as well. I guess we should end this episode, I suppose.
Well, we done Duned it. We did Dune.
Yeah. And we did the Oscars. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Wonka at all, man. Shit. We were supposed to talk about Wonka.
We got to do a whole app on Wonka.
Well, thanks for listening to this episode. And you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Film with Family. Give us a follow there.
And if you'd like to send us an email, you can reach us at filmwithfamilypodcast@gmail.com. Go ahead and tell us all the things we got wrong about Dune. I'm sure there's some Dune heads out there that were just screaming at their radios this whole time.
And you can also find us on Patreon. If you pay $1.99 a month, you'll get a bonus episode every month. Right now, we're talking about Oscar Best Picture winners that deal with family. And this month, we're going to be talking about the controversial film American Beauty with our Aunt Natanya.
Yep, that's next week. So,
And also in 2 weeks, we got Toy Story with Alicia and Amory on the main feed.
got 2 good episodes coming up. You can always do a free trial if you don't trust that these episodes are worth it. Wait for it to come out next week. Give it a spin. You can listen to the other back ones too for free. If you want, just go ahead and binge them and then cancel. I don't care.
That's a way to do it. We won't stop you.
Yeah, give it a try. But I know you'll be hooked. You'll be hooked like Paul Atreides on the back of that worm.
Yep.
And we love the movies.
And we love our family.
May thy knife chip and shatter.
Bye.
Bye.